Well, hello, beautiful artisans. Welcome to Echo Art with Carmella-T. If you are new to the channel, we create with all recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And it's free to jump on board. Come on board. We share ideas. Some people ask me to do specific things. That's what this video is about today. I've had a number of requests lately, so I try to kind of get right to them before too much time goes by. So this, and if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. I love your comments, and yes, your suggestions and questions. So with that, I just want to share with you that I'm working on another Granny Square hat. Okay, this is WIP. So, you know, these hats were like really sold like hotcakes at both of the fairs that I was at. I mean, people love these hats, and I love these hats. I have two that I've made for myself, and I'm going to start wearing them. You're going to see me wear them soon. I have to tell you, it's kind of warm in Vermont again. It's like in the 50s. And for November to be in the 50s, like anywhere, I think is a little on the warmer side than in the 30s or 20s, right? So, but this is WIP, so the tails are not tied and it's not stitched yet. Now, I am also working on a Boro-inspired hat. You can see that hat over on my TikTok live, but I will be sharing some Boro Sashiko inspired hats here because I need to make a number of them. So today and tomorrow especially, I'll be focusing on these projects back and forth, building some momentum, you might say. And this is my next Granny Square hat that is WIP. So today I want to focus on tension with crocheting. Some crocheters, especially the new ones, I mean, I'm talking even if they've been crocheting a couple of years, sometimes they will continue to have problems with tension. In other words, their stitches are coming out too tight or the stitches are coming out too loose. Now, I have been crocheting since I was like 8 or 9, so a really long time. And I want to share with you some of the tips before we even begin. So you have your different size hooks, and okay. So I just want to show you something. These hooks here are seemingly pretty close. They have a slight margin between their sizes. This one has a large margin. So it's quite obvious, yeah, I'm going to have a very different, looser, larger stitch with this crochet hook than with this. But guess what? With these little ones, even if you are half a size difference, it can make a big difference in your stitch. People don't tell you that. Maybe some people don't even know that, but it's true. And this morning, I'm going to give you an example. This hat, right? Last night, I did about 3 of the 5 panels, and I picked up this crochet hook to continue. And because I'm very, very experienced, I noticed immediately that my stitches were loose. They were larger, in other words, they were larger. I noticed it right off the bat. And so I pulled them out and I'm like, well, did I use this one? Nope, they were still large. So it was this one. Now, I was crocheting late and I didn't really take note, and I should have. And I usually do because I know the difference it can make. So this was the one that made the difference in the snugness of my stitches. Now, with that said, between the hook and the weight of the yarn and your stitch, and yes, you either pulling it really tight or making it too loose, all of that can contribute. A lot of crocheters really believe it's them, like they're pulling it too tight or just pulling the loop too much and making it too large. Sometimes it is the hook and the yarn, just like what I just explained to you. It makes a difference. So I don't want you to be too difficult on yourself, and just stay with it, because you will notice experience will start to build, and you'll notice different little things, and before you know it, you're an expert and you're just moving along. Now, this is a very thick, this is a chenille, okay? And I just want to show you something with that. This, I just kind of want to point out a couple different yarns first. This is a chenille, so it's a heavyweight. This is a cotton that is very relaxed, and I actually do not like the texture of this at all. It is very, very, very soft, and so it would be for a very specific project. This is a red heart. Most of you are familiar with the red heart. This has a little bit of firmness to it. No matter what hook you're using, it will pretty much fall the way you want it to fall. Let's put it that way. This is a very, what shall I say, slippery yarn. I do not care for this. I don't know the brand. And this is a very good yarn. This might be a Nicole or Loops and Threads, something like that. Not Loops and Threads, those are cottons. But this is a good yarn right here. So I'm going to use this yarn. Well, you know, first I want to show you something with the chenille. Let's go back on the heavyweight. Okay, so I'm going to use first a larger hook. Well, we use this hook. This is, we'll use the larger hook, because the larger hook is pretty much the kind of hook you want to be using with this, okay? And now I'm going to give you a tip. Okay, so first of all, do your chain. Don't make this loop too tight, but don't keep it too loose. Bring it in just a tad, so your hook has a little leeway, teeny tiny bit of leeway there. If you pull it too tight, I have seen this on YouTube repeatedly. The people will pull this tight to the hook. So what happens is when you're coming back at the end of the row, you have this really, it's difficult to tell where the very last loop is. And that, my friend, is your last loop. So you don't want it too tight. So let's just do a chain. Now when I'm doing the chain, you notice I'm not pulling down here. I'm just letting the loop sit on the hook. And when I wrap it around, I'm not wrapping tight and pulling, and I'm not making it like so there's space either. I'm just letting it drop. Just let it drop. That is your base. That is your base. Okay, so then, and then just simply, in practice, just doing that. Just pull it through. Just pull it. Don't pull it up. Now, when you pull it up, you see you have bunches of space there. You don't want to pull it up. You just want it to sit on your hook. Okay? So there you go. Now I want to show you something. So that's the large hook. Now I'm going to take a smaller hook. Now some people do not realize what happens with a thick thread. Some of you do, some don't. When you have a heavyweight thread and a small hook. Okay, now I'm going to just bring the loop to the size of the hook. And now I'm just going to crochet like I normally would. Now look what's happening. I'm just going to show you this because this is tight. That is tight. That is tight. And it's so tight. It's you're going to see this twist. Let's see if we can do this long enough for you to, I'm not even pulling. Look, you see it twisting? It's twisting because it's too tight. Now there are instances when you want it to twist, when you're making your little curly cues, and I have a video on that where I'm actually saying to you, use a thick yarn and use a smaller hook. Boom, curly cues. That's what automatically happens. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. Now I'm going to show you different yarn. So that's a thicker yarn. So with the thicker yarn, you could be using a hook that's just too small. And that will create tightness. That will create too much tightness. So check that out. Experiment with the different hooks. Okay. So this one, this is a good one to show you. Again, I just showed you a yarn where if you're using a hook that's too small, it will tighten. Now I'm going to show you. So first, let me show you a hook. This is an appropriate size hook. This is a good hook. When it's like a regular weight yarn, you know, JK are okay, or the smaller hooks are okay. But again, so I have my loop, and I'm not making it too tight up against there. I want to be able to see just a teeny tiny bit tad space, and that's how I do it. And I just put the yarn over, and I'm just letting it actually guide me. I'm not doing anything else to it. I'm just dropping it over and pulling it through. That is an excellent, excellent way to practice. Now, with that, I'm going to switch to a larger hook. Let's just use one a little larger. It's not this big one, but it's just a little larger. So I'm going to put that through. Now look, you're going to notice I'm just dropping the yarn and just pulling it through. It's all I'm doing. But look how loose, you'll see in a minute, how loose these stitches are up here. You can see they're larger than these down here. You see that very quickly you see that. Those are smaller and these are larger. They're loose because this hook is a little bit oversized for the yarn. So when you get a hook that's in sync to the weight of the yarn, it's much easier to grab and feel and see the tension. It's just there, like naturally there. You don't have to do anything else. So the larger hook to a lesser weight yarn, you see? So, oh, let me show you with this larger one, for example. So I'm just going to pull that through. I'm not pulling anything. I'm just letting it fit. I'm letting it fit. And now I'm just simply pulling it through. I'm not even pulling extra yarn. Now you're going to see clearly, you see how large the stitches are? It's because of your hook using a lightweight yarn. So it's not you. It is the hook to the yarn. Boom. That's it. That's all it is. So you want to you're going to get a smaller hook, and we're going to simply drape our yarn over, pull it through. We're not tightening it. We're not loosening it. This is coming off here. And you're going to see automatically, this is nothing I'm doing except putting the yarn through. You see? You see how small those stitches are compared to the ones we just did. So that is a very real factor in your crocheting. Now, it may take you a little bit to figure out the right hook size to the yarn. However, on the labels of whatever yarn you're buying, many, many times, if not always, it will tell you the hook size that is most appropriate with that yarn. That doesn't mean you can't use a little bit larger size hook for something that you have. You know, maybe it says, you know, size 2.5 hook, and it's giving you a project with that yarn, and you want to use a size 5 or something like that. Test it, try it. It's probably okay. But anyway, I wanted to show you that with the Red Heart yarn. The Red Heart is an absolutely lovely, lovely, lovely yarn. It's a good yarn. Now, I'm going to use this yarn right here, and I'm going to do some stitches. Let's see. No, you know, actually, I want to use a little bit thicker so you can see. We'll use this. This is a little bit thicker. And now we're going to talk about maybe what it is you are doing, possibly. Now, there's always this big question in schools of thought that you have to hold the crochet needle, your hook, a certain way, and you do not. You do not. You hold it the way you want. I have held it, you know, many different ways because I thought, oh my God, I'm doing this wrong. Let me just get a chain on here, and because I want to go over some stitches with you. And now I will, from time to time, you will see me change the way I hold the hook. It's not even conscious at this point. It's maybe because of the angle, maybe because of the stitch that I'm doing or something. So, and this, I was just going to change it. So yeah, I am. But look, so let's do a double crochet. Okay. So double crochet, you're going to put the yarn over, you're going to put it through the stitch, pull up. Now this is probably where people or crocheters who are having trouble with tension are actually can pinpoint what they are doing, okay? Because at this point, you see where the hook right here, it's sitting, if I can explain this correctly, it's sitting on the stitches we just made. You see it? It's resting on the stitches, okay? That's as high right now as I want that hook, because those stitches are that high. So if you come out like this and you pull this, and you could pull it, you're going to get it super duper loose. Watch that. Look, see, now it's all uneven, and that's too loose. Now, the other thing you could have done, okay, so see, you've got your stitches. So your first and second stitch, right? Your first and second stitch is going to be your guide for your next stitch, especially as a beginner. Just use it as a guide. Your hook is resting on top of it. There's nowhere else that hook can go. It's resting there. You don't want to pull the hook up here. You want to use the stitches you just made as a guide and a base. So you're just going to work from there. So we're going to go in here, do another double crochet, and that's as far as I'm going. So I don't need to pull it up anymore. Now, what a lot of people might do when they're having the opposite problem, it's not too loose, but it's too tight. What they're doing is they're getting here, and they have succeeded. They're right here, sitting on top of the stitch. And then all of a sudden they do this. Okay. And now you just tightened everything up, and now it's going down the other way, and you've got a little gathering beginning. So we want to pull that out. because we don't want that. So pull it out when that happens and try it again. Put your yarn over, go through your stitch, bring it up, and there it is. Your hook is sitting. You can feel it sitting there. So that's your guide. So then bring your yarn around, pull straight through as best you can right there, and then pull through again. Whoops. And you have made your little cluster. I actually went in the next stitch. Let me do it again. I'll go in the right stitch. I went in the next stitch. That's another thing that will put you off. You could see it just happened to me. So we're going to go make sure we go in the same little stitch there. We're not going any higher than what our 2 little loops are sitting on. We're going to pull that through, and we're going to pull another one through, and we're going to, whatever we're going to do, chain 1 or 2. And there is our little, you see they're all nice and even. And then we're going to continue like that. We go in the next one, we come up, because look, we're still in the same row, okay? And we're just working, we're working on top of that row as our base. And that's keeping us nice and even. So that's a tip for you. And so when you get to your next row, you're probably like, oh, I'm not going to be the same. Most likely you will be. You're going to use the same hook and the same yarn. Most likely you're going to have about the same height. If it's way off, just try it again. And watch how, if you're pulling that yarn too far up or if you're tightening it. So I hope that helps a little bit. And I just wanted to answer the question for the person who was asking. And those are just a few tips. There's just as you go along, it's like I said, those are all the little factors put together. And once you get the puzzle, once you've got that project, you're home free. And but that's a couple little guidelines for you, and I hope it helps. And with that, you have a beautiful day.